Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. You know it is JJ with you once again. And if this is your first time here, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Don't forget about your notification bell because obviously YouTube does. But anyway, I want to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody that's in the chat. I see machines in the chat, MTBK as usual. Good to see you, gentlemen, as always. But before we get into what's going to be cooking on the vid or the live stream as it is, I want to talk to you all about a little bit of something. What I mean by that is this. Now, I had a lot of people ask me, Jay, how do I do donations? Very simple. If you want to become a sponsor of the channel or donate to the channel, this is what you do. You go over here, you go to my homepage, which is not hard to get to. You hit the more button. And then if you scroll down, there's a button that says view email address. Click on that and it'll give you my email address. So you leave your name, your phone number, and the time you called, and I will call you back on the email. I will call you back on the phone. So that'll eliminate all the email kind of thing. You just drop an email, let me know, I'll give you a phone call, and then we'll go from there. Very, very good point. Somebody brought that up to me yesterday. I think that was MTBK. Brought that up to me yesterday. It's like, show everybody where you're at. So that way they know how to get a hold of you. But if you do want to become a sponsor, then that's the best way to do it. And guys, don't be hitting my email with malware because I will be monitoring my email. And if I feel it's malware, I will not accept any emails that I feel it's malware. So don't even, it's not going to be worth the sacrifice. So now let's get back to the main screen again. Oop, guess what I did? A boo-boo. Sorry, I forgot. I always forget to turn that off for some reason. But what we really want to talk about is the 5600 or the 5060, or is it the 5060 Ti? See, I'm a little confused because what happens is you got everybody talking about, well, the 5060 Ti 8 GB is so bad. I just get so confused why they say it's so bad. I'm gonna pull up my my reports and see what's going on here. Well, let's see what to expect. Well, we're gonna do a little bit of head-to-head comparison in the 50 series. I'm not gonna include AMD right now. Okay. This is just gonna be for Nvidia. Okay. And then next time we'll take and we'll do one on AMD as soon as they come out with the 9060 XTs and the 9060, and then we can do an overall comparison. But until then, I'm going to wait on AMD a little bit. We'll go over the specs. We'll check out some of the specs, performance, and pricing. And we'll also check out to what I believe the actual benchmark should be. We'll do an average. And see what the cards handle at 1080p, 1440p, and 4K. If it's got great value, if it has the best bang for the buck, future proofing. We'll see what the future has to hold. And if it's really ready for next level gaming. So get your questions ready because this is going to be one wild video. So if you think it's really worth the price to performance, then we'll find that out. So we're going to work on that today and we're going to see what we got rolling. So, yes, MTBK. Yes, the 4060 Ti Super. I didn't do on the 4060 Ti Super, but I did the 4070 Super. Oh, I didn't do, no, I didn't do the 40s. No, I didn't do the 40 series. I don't think I did. But you know what? How about we just jump into it, guys, and see what we got rolling? Okay, action screen time. Let's see. We're going to go over the specifications. This is something I haven't done with you guys in like forever. So I got here the 5060 Ti 8 gigabyte, the 5060 Ti 16 gigabyte, the 4070, the 4070 Super, and the 5070. Within the price range. I know the 5060 Ti 8 gigabytes not within the rest of the price range, but you never know. On the market, it could change. It could come into the same bracket as the rest of them because you don't know how well the scalpers are going to screw up the pricing for us. But yeah, screw up the pricing. Get it? Okay, let's go with the 5060 Ti 8 gigabyte. It's Blackwell 2.0. It's got 4,608 CUDA cores. It's got a base clock of 2,407 megahertz and a boost clock of 2,572 megahertz. Now remember, this is just stock clocks. This is not overclocking. So, and this is not the OC models. This is just stock models. Because if you look at it, people are going to be more wanting to buy the stock models over the overclock models because they think 2 to 3% more on the overclock models just doesn't suffice the price to performance, which they're kind of right. It doesn't because you can still overclock the stock models. You know, it's not like you can't. And it's on a GDDR7 memory type. It's got the memory size, and this is the 8 gigabyte version. This is 8 gigabytes of VRAM, 128-bit, and it's got a 28,000 megabytes per second memory speed. Memory bandwidth is 448 gigabits per second. If we go over to the 5060 Ti 16 gigabyte, guess what? The only difference is right here. The only difference is one's got 8 gigabyte and the other one's got 16. Only difference. They're all the same from beginning to end. Just like the 4060 Ti 8 and 16 gigabyte. They can calculate it on and calculate this at 1080p. They're both going to run the same. Now, 1440p and 4K, it might run differently. It might be that you get more gain with the 16 gigabyte than you do with the 8 gigabyte. That's if you're going to do 1440p or 4K. But if you're looking for a budget card and you want to stay within a budget, then, you know, something tells me that you're going to be around the 8 gigabyte version because of the price. We'll get to that in a moment. So, looking at the 4070, it's the Ada Lovelace. It's got 5,888 CUDA cores. This is the base model. This isn't my overclock model because my overclock model would be sitting at was it 2,450 megahertz on the base clock. And the boost clock would have been 2850. But if you overclocked it, it could go up to 3.060 gigahertz. So that's like 3060 megahertz. I know I've already pushed it that far. It's on a GDDR6X. It's not too bad. 12 gigabytes of VRAM, 192-bit bus. It's got 21,000 megabytes per second on the memory speed and 504 gigabits per second on the memory bandwidth. Now looking at the 4070 Super, if you really want to look at it, it basically is going to be all the same, basically, except for the CUDA cores, which is going to be 7,168 compared to the 5,888. That's the difference between the two. In actuality. But everything else is pretty much the same. Somewhat. Not saying it is, but somewhat. Now, going to the 5070, the Blackwell 2.0, it's got 6,144 CUDA cores, which sits right in between these two, the 4070 and the 4070 Super, when it comes to the cores. It has a base clock of 2,325 megahertz, and it's got a boost clock of 2,512 megahertz. It's on a GDDR7 memory type, 12 gigabytes of VRAM, 192-bit bus, and it runs at 28,000 megabytes per second with a 448 gigabits per second memory bandwidth. Ooh. See, this, ooh. Wow. That is like, that's insane. That's insane. That the memory bandwidth is smaller than the 4070. Wow. That is amazing. All right, I'm going to read you guys' this comments really quick. So, let's see. $600, let's go. Pretty much. That is what the 5060 Ti is. Yep. 4070 Super. Good counter. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, they are both the same except for the VRAM. Yes, this is true. So make sure you got your drink and snacks. If you didn't get it, your drink and snacks in the beginning, make sure you hurry real quick. Take your 5 minutes and go do it, because we're just going to be going through the charts, and you can always roll back because there's always a replay that you can replay the whole video if you want to watch it again. It's not just a live stream. It's also a video as well. So it's both. So let's move on down the line here. Let's move to the bottom section that I have already set up for you guys. Now, what surprises me, that the ray tracing cores, the most out of all this, is right here, the 4070 Super. Next runner-up will be the 5070. Next runner-up will be the 4070. And then tied evenly will be the 5060 Ti. 8 and 16 gigabyte. Tensor cores, 144 for the 5060 Ti. Both versions. Now, the 4070 has 184. The 4070 Super has 224. Now, the 5070 has 192. AI tops. This is where it becomes real important, because they're going to start using these AI tops in games. And when they start doing that, it's going to be really important. It's going to be more important over the CUDA course. I've been hearing this, and I want you guys to take that into consideration. Yeah, with the 4070 having a 50% wider memory bus with the VRAM speed of the 5060 Ti would have to be 50% higher as well to hit the same memory bandwidth. Yeah, I know. But it's a balancing act. They're doing a balancing act. They're keeping it seems like Nvidia is keeping it within a 7 to 10% margin with the 5060 Ti and the 4070, within a maximum 10% margin. That means the 5060 Ti could be 10% slower. But it doesn't mean it's a bad card. We all know that the 4070 and all the 40 series has been discontinued, but they're still selling it on the retail market. So it's not fully discontinued as of yet. So keep that in mind. So the only advantage with the 5060 Ti has over the 4070 is the VRAM and AI tops. Yeah, the 16 gigabyte version, bro, but not the 8 gigabyte version. So, yeah, let's move on. So you can see that the 4070 Super has the most tops or tensor cores. Okay, and you can see that the AI tops for the 5060 Ti, both sides, and the 5070 are exactly the same. What gives? Why would they make the tops higher here, just as high here as the 5070? Are we missing something? We might be missing something, because if they start using AI tops more, that's going to be important. That's going to be real important. Mine's only got 568. I'm happy with that. And the 4070 Super's got 650, which is closer to the 759. So the 4070 Super has a little bit better advantage keeping up with the 5070, or going faster than the 5070 at this point. So, yeah. It might be that you're at DLSS 3 on the 40 series, but they give you part of DLSS 4. Only thing you don't get is the multi-frame generation. But on Steam, you can get that little booster thing they got on Steam that can bring you up to the DLSS 4 full quality. I can't remember the name. It's something with a little duck on it, So in terms of memory bandwidth, 5060 Ti is 11.11% slower than the 4070. And 4070 is 11.2, 25% faster in this discipline. Meanwhile, the GPU tops out at 256 gigabytes per second. Yeah. 12.5% faster anyway. But ray tracing, it seems to be running equal. The 5060 Ti seems to be running equal with the 4070 on ray tracing. So if the tops have something to do with that, that'd probably be the effectiveness of what's happening. But who knows? To me, I would feel that they were utilizing the AI tops, because you heard Jensen say using AI makes your GPU run faster. I'm just saying, you guys get it. So if I was playing at 1080p and I was to choose a card between the 5060 Ti 16 gigabyte and the 4070, I would choose the 4070 every day of the week on Sunday. Cool. Hello there, pseudoscientist. Good to see you. Are you missing planned obsolescence? I don't know. Am I? Am I missing something like that? I have no idea. Or are you asking everybody in the chat? That's probably what you're doing. I don't know. I don't think I'm missing anything there. The more you buy, the more you pay. Oh, you mean save. Oh, I got you. I got you there, machine. Okay, guys, let's get down to the brass tacks. Launch price. Hold on. Oh, I'll be right back, guys. Wait, sorry about that, guys. You gotta love when the doctors call you. They called me on today because they're open today. So they called me for my scheduled appointment on Monday. So I apologize to everybody. I'm sure we're not going to have any more interruptions. So let's move on. Okay, getting down to the brass tacks. Right here. $379. $379 for the 5060 Ti 8 gigabyte. That's MSRP. That's not going to say what's on the market right now because I'm going to tell you guys like this. Between the scalping and the retail scalping and the AIB partner scalping, just kidding. But anyway, but the retail being scalped by scalpers and all that. And with, like they say, tariffs are playing a big part of it, which we have a reprieve for 90 days. So keep that in mind. We got 90 days from the time that he postponed that, except for China. But where the graphics cards are coming out right now is either it's coming out from where they say Lebanon and Mexico, and where the tariffs are down low like 10%. So adding a 10% cost on, which will be like about $30 or $40. So that's something that, you can bargain with. There's a bargain chip. So what Pseudo is saying that Nvidia wants you to buy a card every 2 years. So they make the card work only for about 2 years. Yeah. It's like disposable toilet paper. Get it? You can use one wipe for every 2 years. And then after that, you can dispose it. These companies got to understand these cards are not disposable. They hurt the environment more. And I'm going to tell you guys this. They hurt the environment more by you disposing of it than you are to recycle it. But they actually, PC parts get recycled, but they go to China. China buys them and recycles it, gives it back to us again. It's the circle of PC life. So, Calvary, what is that? Oh, come on, machine. You know better, man. It is a waste to me. Yeah, it is. But it actually, guys, it's not. Okay. What happens is that you got one country that takes our waste, recycles it, and then sends it back to us again. Come on. But if we did it here, the prices should be a lot cheaper. But the cost of inflation and people wanting more money, it's not going to be cheap. I hate to break the news. So, if I want an AMB partner, that is what I would do. Yeah. But getting back to the price, so we got a 5060 Ti at $379 MSRP. And if we get our calculator out, I know you guys love the calculator, so I'm going to get the calculator out. So we take between the two, the 16 gigabytes going to be $429. So we take the 429 and we minus that from the 379, gives us $50. A $50 difference between these two cards. Now, this is where everybody is having the problem. So if you divide that $50, you divide that $50 by 8, means it's $6.25. $6.25 per gigabyte for 8 gigabytes. So if you were to take the $429, I can't add with the shit, and divide that by 16, that's going to come out to $26.81 after the cost of the PCB and everything else. You're going to have to break that up into, what was it? You got the one for the CPU. That's curating the CPU. You got the RAM chips. You got the PCB and all the fixings and the mounting. So divide that by 4. So as it looks, the 16 gigabytes cheaper than the 8 gigabyte. So keep that in mind. So in actuality, the 429 MSRP 16 gigabyte VRAM card of the 5060 Ti is the better deal. But if you can't scratch over $400, I'd suggest you save your money for a little bit longer and get yourself more VRAM. But if you're struggling, then, I can understand that too. So, but if you're really struggling, you can still do some wonders with the 8 gigabyte card. You still got some great gameplay with it. So moving along from this, moving along from the price, I set up a specification chart. So I can see at ultra settings that the 5060 Ti 1080p 8 gigabyte should be at 140 FPS. Should be at 1080p ultra settings. And the 5060 Ti 16 gigabyte, I know you guys are going to argue this with me, but I'm taking real world numbers and I'm just averaging it out. So the 16 gigabyte version should give you 168 FPS. The 4070 should give you 179 FPS. The 4070 Super should give you 192 FPS. And the 5070 should give you 197 FPS. And yes, this is not the overclock mode. 1440p, 5060 Ti, 8 gigabyte, 108 FPS. 5060 Ti 16 gigabyte, 126 FPS. 4070, 142 FPS. 4070 Super, 156 FPS. 5070, 162 FPS. 4K Ultra settings. 5060 Ti 8 gigabyte, 62 FPS. Still within the 60 FPS rule. So you're still sticking within the 60 FPS rule. Might fluctuate, but you're still in there at 4K. 5060 Ti, 16 gigabytes, 78 FPS. 4070, 84 FPS. 4070 Super, 96 FPS. 5070, 100 FPS. You can see how close these numbers are. And this is where they come back to, and I try to tell everyone, without putting any of the software tricks onto your GPU at ultra settings, it's not that bad. So, yeah, their own choice. Maybe they want to assess the market. MSRP, what's that? Oh, farming machine. Funny. I got you. Look, they can assess whatever they want. I'm going to assess it today the way I'm going to assess it. But price to performance, looking at these 5 GPUs alone, I'm going to call it, in my view, I'm going to call it a mid-range. I'm going to call these all mid-range. Even though that some of them have high-end memory chips, they're still all classed in the mid-range. Because if we go back to look at the pricing down here, and let me move it up for you and make it bigger if I have to. So this right here alone, the 5 prices are still sitting within the average of these 5. So it's not that bad of a deal. It's still below $600. Not unless you buy it from a crackpot retailer that wants to, sell it higher than that. That's just ridiculous. So moving on. This is the specifications around the best of what I think it would be. The 9800X3D, this is the high side of it. 9800X3D, it's got the L3 cache that improves heavy CPU tasks, reducing bottlenecks, and boosting game performance at lower resolutions like 1080p. So 1080p, 1440p, and 4K, you're all good. A 600 series motherboards, all depends. That's why I put 600 series motherboards, because different 600 series motherboards have their different kind of settings, but you can get one that's supportive of PCIe 5.0 x16 on for the graphic card slot. Even though that 5060 Ti is only PCIe 5.0 x8. But you never know. Asus might come out with the card and they might want to put a SSD on that card and make it an X16 slot. So that's how you have to look at it for the future. If they want to put more storage and put it onto your graphics card, I would keep that train of thought open. You never know. They might want to put 2 of them on there. Never know. They might want to put 4 of them on there. Because if they're doing 5.0 X2 on the SSDs, how many can you get? You got 1, 2, that's 2 of them alone. That's PCIe 5.0 X4. And then you got 2 more, then that's PCIe 5.0 X8. So actually you can put 4 of them on there if you wanted to. So, and the RAM, 32 gigs of DDR5, 6000 microtransfer RAM seems to be the sweet spot for right now, but they're talking about moving it up to 8,000 microtransfers. So keep that in mind. This might change in the near future for the system. Storage, I found with the storage, you don't need something that's going to break your bank. 7,000 megabyte per second transfer on the reads and 6,000 on the writes. I use that right now, and it seems to be perfect for me. But you can go up to 10 to 12,000 or whatever, but now they're getting a problem with overheating and stuff like that. So I would try to stick around right here because it'll still give you the best bang for the buck, I think. So moving on. Now, this is what I talked about on Discord with, everybody on Discord. I put for modern games at 1080p, an 8 gigabyte VRAM GPU is more than enough to deliver smooth performance without artifacting or stuttering. These games typically have optimized textures, lower VRAM demands, and efficient rendering. Make them ideal for mid-range GPUs. And here's some of the games: Minecraft, Rocket League, Stardew Valley, Tresta, The Sims 4, Euro Trucking Simulator 2, Portal 2, City, Skylines, Left 4 Dead 2, Undertale, and Hollow Knight. These games do not push VRAM limits, meaning an 8 gigabyte GPU will handle them effortlessly and at 1080p without stuttering or texture pop-ins. So you can see 8 gigabytes of VRAM is still viable in 2025. People have to realize not all reviewers like myself believe that 8 gigabytes of VRAM is dead. Just like they said about AMD's AM4 platform. They just don't want you to cheap out. That's because they'll make more money in their link revenue by having you click on their links. So don't be fooled. What do I always say? Don't believe the hype. And that's right. Don't believe the hype. So, main reason 1080p is better than 1440p and 4K. Here's the scenario. In terms of performance and efficiency, it requires less GPU power, less VRAM, and delivers high-quality frame rates. Why 1080p outperforms 1440p and 4K? Higher FPS, easier to hit 144 hertz in competitive gaming, lower GPU demand. Less stress on the GPU card means smoother gameplay, less VRAM usage, textures and assets load faster, preventing bottlenecks. Better for competitive play, faster response times, reduce input lag. Affordable hardware. You do not need an expensive GPU to max out your settings. Common sense. At higher resolutions, 1440p and 4K, your GPU has to process more pixels, leading to lower FPS unless you have a higher end graphics card. So if your priority is speed, fluid gameplay, and maximum frame rates, 1080p is the way to go. So 1080p is not dead. Okay, guys, 1080p is not dead. All this crap you hear about, oh, don't get 1080p, that's bullshit. That's just because they don't want you to cheap out and get something that is going to do just as good, even better, than having all the rest, having a high-end card. Guys, it's common sense. I use my 4070 on 1080p all day long, but they have a little program called dynamic screen resolution in the Nvidia settings that you can set it up to run 1440p and 4K. So it's not like you lose anything. It's it's simple common sense. Why are you going to pay more for less? I'm gonna read some of what you guys have just wrote. So, so hello, Dylan. Good to see you. I'm sorry I didn't see you come in, but we're waving at you. Good to see you. Dylan says, "Is the 4060 faster than a 1080 Ti?" Yes, it is. One is on a different architecture than the other. Software wise, yes. Hardware wise, maybe, possibly. So, if that answers your question. Yes, the 1060 is an interesting card. It has very small profile and performs quite well with lower TDP. Cool. MTBK says, due to tech power-ups charts, it can beat a 1080 with the 1080 Ti is still, but the 1080 Ti is still faster. Wow. At 35 watts for the laptop Max Q model, 4060 sits in between a 1660 Super and the GTX 1660 Ti. Wow. Dylan says, yes, the 4060 is an interesting card and it still has very small profile and performs quite well with the other low TDP. Yeah. Shane says, only downside to 8 GB cards is you can't really use RT or frame gen. Yeah, you can, but you have to put it on like a low setting, but you can use it. Yeah. But why would you want to do that when you can substitute it with other options in the display settings for Nvidia? If I remember right, I don't use ray tracing on my 4070. Why? Because I use dynamic screen resolution, which is, everybody's going to say, oh, it's not the same thing. Well, to me, dynamic screen resolution is a lot better than running ray tracing. I can still run native 1080p or 1440p or 4K and use DLSS if I want to improve my FPS without screen tearing. So it's not hard. Just saying. By the way, Euro Truck Simulator 2 is fun. Shit, I got it on my Steam too. Yeah. When unhinged VTuber caused some collisions. Yeah. I agree with that. Yeah. Shane says, but you can game just fine on an 8 GB card on 95% of the games. Machine, that is true. Okay. I just want to clarify something. Just because it says 8 GB does not mean that it's totally worthless. Not when you got other people in the community that don't believe in 8 GB VRAM cards. There are some people out there that can't really afford a high-end PC. That's not what I'm about here. My channel is not about the high-end PCs. It could be, but and I would probably get more, um, I'd probably get more subscribers, but I still feel that the 60 to 70% that are sitting out in the cold need to be more, I need to pay more attention to them than I do need to the mid-range and the one percenters. I feel that the people that are struggling to get a PC are more needing that help than the others. Because you got a majority of the world that can't afford PCs. So my objective is to work on that crowd, the crowd that everybody else left behind. Just like with AM4, they left that crowd behind. I don't need something high end to have a great gameplay. That's what you have to understand. You don't need high end to have a great gameplay. And I've told that many of times. And you can ask anybody in this chat, and they'll tell you that that's correct. You don't need high end to have a great gameplay. You really don't. That's nothing but foolishness and somebody that wants to burn their money. We're all watching on YouTube like this with big freaking glasses. We're like this, big glasses. Commentators. Oh, they got a big CPU. Oh, they got a big motherboard. Oh, they got a big hard drive. Come on, guys. I want you to really think hard about this. Sorry about the crowd in the background. They're having a party downstairs. But when it comes down to it all, in the end of the day, you got Microsoft trying to get rid of older hardware, trying to force everybody to sit there and buy a brand new PC, which they can't afford. And now you got all this crap happening in the world and the price is going up. But there is a simple solution. There's two pieces to the puzzle. One, I call it your platform, which includes your motherboard, your CPU, your system RAM, your SSD, all the nooks and crannies to set up your PC. Now, the second piece is just your GPU. So with you paying the same amount of price for your GPU compared to your platform, you're going to be paying the same amount of price. So if you balance the two, you can get a great PC without spending an arm and a leg. Now these days, the way it's rolling is you can go on the internet and you can look for pre-built PCs that are cheaper than building it on your own. So you get one that's pre-built with a warranty. Guess what? You're done and good. Just get it over. Or you can find a cheap pre-built that has a great motherboard, great bones, and then they have like a RX 580 or something in there. You pull out the RX 580 and you plug something better in. Guess what? You just saved yourself a ton of dollars. So there is ways to get a decent PC for a low price. So, but you can game just fine. I think you'll be good. Yeah, I do agree with that machine. Dylan says, Dylan, happy spring right back, man. And as far as me, I'm doing well. I'm doing well. If machine says, if you're coming from a console, an 8-core CPU, 32 gigabyte system RAM, which it's only 16 gigabyte because the PS5 is only 16 gigabytes. And it operates off of the similar platform graphic card, which would be the 4060 Ti. Don't jump at me about this. Some people say it's on the platform of the 4060 Ti. So they can run that 1080p. I mean, I have no bad bones about 1080p. Okay. I did right here. You guys probably can't see it, so I did benchmarking the other day. Now listen to this. Let me get back and I'll read all you guys' comments. Machine says my laptop 4060 being slower on 1080p, 1080 Ti, slower than the 1080 Ti does matter. It's lower cost and it has better quality when it comes to recording footage. So I tend to like new architecture better. Nvidia CEO Jensen would say the 4060 Ti is faster than the PlayStation 5. Yeah, I do agree. That's because of what? If you put 16 gigabyte next to 16 gigabyte on the 4060 Ti Super or 4060 Ti, 8 gigabyte, 16 gigabyte, what are you actually paying for? A cheap PCB with a cheap CPU and using a mid-grade GPU. And at 1080p, it performs just as good as your PC. But then you got to pay extra hundreds of dollars for your accessories. PC, you don't have to pay that. PC, you don't have to pay that for the extra accessories because it's all in one. That's the point. It's all in one. So basically, if you want to upgrade your system RAM, you want to upgrade your GPU, you want to upgrade your CPU, you want to even upgrade your motherboard, your PSU, and all the pieces in your PC. PS5 does not give you that option. It's standardized, locked into what it is. So think about that. And plus, it has its limitations. I mean, your motherboard on your PC can go all the way up to 128 gigabytes of system RAM. But with the PS5, guess what it actually does? It's just like my 5600G. It shares the system RAM. And that's what it does. It shares the system RAM. So with a graphics card, discrete graphics card doesn't share your system RAM. It does by maybe 1 or 2%, but not enough it's going to hinder your performance. So keep that in mind too. So let's see what else I got for you guys. Well, that was it on the pictures. Yeah, that was it on the pictures. So, but as we can see, is in performance and everything else, guys. Talking about the 5060 Ti, everybody can sit there and knock 8 gigabyte VRAM cards. Okay, this is going to be another thing for you. One, 8 gigabyte VRAM card will play on Second Life, which is a game, internet game. Two, it'll play on Facebook. It'll play on the lower level gaming with no problem. It'll work for your office and business work and everything else. So it has its elasticity and viability for the future 2025 market. It's just everybody puts their focus, they put their little focus on something this big, and make it this big. If you're going to put your focus on esports and AAA games other than the other games in this world, then you're cutting yourself into one little block, but you're forgetting about the rest. The multifunction that the GPU has, the multifunction. So if you just want to keep yourself in one little block, that's fine. That's okay. Hey, we understand. We understand that you just want to be in that little block. But when it comes to the whole picture, the multiverse, the multi things you can do with your GPU is unlimited. So thinking that you get 8 gigabytes of VRAM and you're limited, that's bullshit. So keep believing it. If that's what you want to believe, that's your belief, and I'm not taking that away from you. But my belief is this. I don't knock the smaller cards because they're cheaper in price. It's affordable to people that can't afford graphics cards. Think about that. It's for people that can't afford the graphics card, but they have an okay system, but they just need to spice it up a little bit. So they get themselves an 8 gigabyte card and they replace their 4 gigabyte card. So guess what? Now they got 4 gigabytes of VRAM. Now they can play a little bit better games with medium workloads. I mean, even my 4070 at medium workloads is at 100%. So, and it's a $600 card. So looking at, a $300 card compared to a $600 card, and with this $300 card having more AI tops than the $600 card, what do you think you're actually going to run to? Let me read some of what you guys are saying about this. Think about this. The AI tops is more on the 5060 Ti 8 gigabyte than it is the 4070 and the 4070 Super. What are they going to do with those tops? That's the question. Are they going to reinforce something with those tops to make that GPU run faster in the future? And you guys are cutting yourself away from that future. Even if it's 8 gigabyte, they still got programs that can take and minimize the VRAM usage, so that card becomes a ball buster. Just want you guys to understand this. Machine says, if you are coming from a console. Yeah, I read that one for you. I had no issues with my RX 7600 on 1080p. Machine, I know, because you ran those tests with us on Discord. So yeah. Dylan says GPUs have come a long way. Yeah. If you're going from where I started at in 1984, yeah, they came a long way. I mean, a very long way. So I do agree with that. The crazy advancements of them often distract consumers because there's so many of them, because there's so many in the wild. If AMD had one, Nvidia had one, and Intel had one, and they were limited on 3 total, and you had a choice between the 3. Yeah. The choice would be, it would be right there. It's a no-brainer. Which one would be the fastest? That's what you would go with. So let's say the 5090 was just in the wild. The 9070 XT is in the wild. And let's say Intel comes up with the C or the D 580 that's competitive with all those 2 graphics cards. And let's say Intel breaks the bank and says, okay, well, you guys are charging $3,000 and $1,000, and we're just going to charge like $430. Boom, the internet blows up. Why does it blow up? Because everybody's running to Intel. Because now they got a graphics card on the market that's just as fast, even faster than a 5090. And the price is right there. Now that's a great price to performance, I think. So yeah. So it's just things that I think about all the time, guys. It's just this is what I think about. I mean, mid-range cards are still a powerful piece of equipment. Yeah, I do agree with that too. That's why my PC, believe it or not, I might have an AM4 platform, but it's high-end AM4. See, you got to remember, there is no AM5, if you roll yourself back to where there is no AM5, the motherboard I got would be twice expensive. The CPU I got would be 3 times as expensive, and so on. As soon as they made that switch to AM5, the prices started to come down and down and down. And then if you're really smart, you would have went and bought high-end AM4, which would be equal, maybe a little bit better, to mid-grade AM5. Like if you got a 5800 X3D and you got yourself a Asus Strix motherboard, high-end motherboard, or an MSI Godlike or something, you can rock that for at least another generation or two. I don't see the problem there. But people miss these points that they can get half the price of a high-end software from the last generation, and it still runs like a dream. And that's exactly what I did. Instead of me going to AM5, I stayed on AM4, which I started on AM3, which, I started on AM2, AM1. I mean, and then Intel DDR, just straight DDR, the 7200 pin sticks. That was all the way down to like the 286 Intel 286 processor. Wow, it's a long time. Something to think about. And back then, when you were buying the PCs, they were $1,000. Some of them were almost $2,000 back in the 80s. So if you do your math, if you actually look at it, we're sitting stagnant from the 80s to now. The prices are fluctuating, but they're basically the same prices from 1980 to now. Back in the 80s, it was good. But now the prices are increasing. So this market from the 1980s to 2024, now it's going up to a new market. So that means the price is changing. And there's been rumors about Nvidia increasing the price ranges when it comes to the GPUs. So something to think about. I just don't really see a lot of fluctuation going back from 1980 to now, say in 2024 and back. But now 2025, it's boosted higher. It's because of scalpers pushing the market up higher because of the higher cost that they're charging for what they buy and charge it like 10 times. I can't believe a 5090 that a scalper is going to charge $100,000. Kiss my ass. The day I give you $100,000 would be the day I give you the middle finger and tell you to go yourself. So, machine and says, and 1440p on some games. Yeah, guys. I mean, yeah, $1,200 godlike motherboard. Well, if you get the new motherboard, it's what? $1,200. What changed from last generation to this generation? MSI, a damn thing. So you think you're going to get a break somewhere? No, because now they're learning that they can jack up the prices and not have to worry about it and not be scrutinized by the government, which they should be. There should be a limit. They should have a cap limit, but they don't. Yeah, MSI godlike series motherboards are slightly overpriced, some say. I say it's way overpriced because you can get a B550 motherboard Strix for $160, $170. It does just as good. It's got the same functions. Nothing's changed. You're just paying for the aesthetics. When you guys realize you're just paying for the aesthetics on some uh, PC parts, then you'll realize you don't need that. If you want aesthetics, then get your can of spray paint, a stencil board, and do all your little fancy things you want onto your PC. You want to make it custom. Use some spray paint or um, get a stencil board and an engraver and change the outlook of your PC, or get a welding torch and just cut the case and put two cases together. There's many things you can do. I mean, if you got a small little surplus of the PC cases sitting on the side, then tinker with it. That's a whole part of DIY, is do it yourself. Tinker with it. Build yourself a super case. Let's say if you wanted to take two cases, put them into one, then guess what? Cut the center section out. Put your water section up on top. And then in the back, put your electrical. On the bottom, put your motherboard and your graphics card with a flip. And then take and wrap around some high temp glass. Do a wraparound high temp glass on both of them. That would be something. And then your case would be what? Having 20 fans, a 1600 watt power supply. I was about to say 16,000 watts. I was about to say 16,000 watts, guys. That would be like a super PC. 16,000. I can't imagine have something like that. I make my PC custom by putting a pretty GPU in, but forget getting a case with side windows and no RGB. Oh, come on, man. Even Machine said it. RGB will make it run faster. It'll make it run faster, believe it or not. Why not? Y'all see my PC. It runs faster. I think it does. I don't know if it's by the RGB or not, but it runs. So, all right. Also, we got all that out of the way. We all understand now that the 5060 Ti, the 5070, the 4070, the 4070 Super, and even throw in the 4070 Ti. Well, no, you can't really throw in the 4070 Ti because it's over $700. So just in this bracket right here alone is not, you don't have a bad deal of any of it. So if you want an 8 GB card, hell, I would be even more inclined if these companies want to sponsor the channel and say, hey, Jay, we're going to send you an 8 GB card. I'll be thrilled. Truthfully, I would be tickled to death if they ever did that. And that's the lowest card they could ever send somebody to benchmark. I feel they got just as much bones as the 16 GB. So it's not the matter of how many gigabytes of VRAM you have, it's how you use it. That's the whole purpose. It's how you use it. Read my lips. How you use it. That matters. So if you don't know how to use your graphics card and you just put everything and pump everything out and just boom, and demand your graphics card to work at 8 GB, the graphics card is going to give you the big finger and it's going to give you a blue screen and a smiley face that goes and say, have a nice day. You learn it as a PC builder to know what to do and not to do. If you built your PC from scratch, from the ground up, you would understand more about the functioning of your PC and how the do's and the don'ts work, how you can make it run more efficient without having less problems. No blue screening, no problems. That's how you made your PC. That's how I made mine. No blue screen. I have not seen one damn blue screen since I built this PC. Not one. A black screen, yes, because that was Nvidia's kind of mess up on the driver software. But my PC rebooted with that new software, so I will give them a pass. The newest software that they just put out recently is supposed to eliminate the blue screens. And you know what the problem is? It's not that it's Nvidia's doing all this. It's the G-Sync and all that extra mumbo jumbo that goes onto your monitor. That's a Windows problem. That's Microsoft problem. And what happens is now Nvidia got trapped into that problem. And guess what? Nobody saw the real picture. Everybody's just blaming, oh, Nvidia's drivers suck and this and that. But, bruh, let me explain something to you. It's not the drivers that's the problem. It's the companies that build the software is the problem. Microsoft built your operating system. In order for your operating system to work, it has to be ship shape. And if Microsoft screws it up by putting in a bad update, guess what you're going to have? A bad day. And that's what's been happening for the past 6 months. If you guys have been watching the reports, it's not an Nvidia problem. This has never been an Nvidia problem. The problem is Nvidia is making new updates on their drivers, sending it over to Microsoft. Microsoft screws up the what do you call it? The code signing. And then when you go to use the software, you get a whole bunch of problems. So if the code signing's not right and the kernel's not right, then yeah, you can't blame Nvidia for that because it's now a Microsoft screw up. Because they have to send their DLL driver for it to be approved by Microsoft in order for it to be signed drivers onto Microsoft software. Your operating system has to be signed drivers. That's specific by Microsoft, that it's required. So if you want to get into the software side of the field, learn it. You're going to need to learn it. In order to understand how your hardware works, you have to learn how your software works. You have to learn how both works. So read some more on what you guys got rolling down here. That's what she said. Oh, come on, pseudoscientist. Yep, I download new software onto my girlfriend as often as she lets me. Until she smacks you, and then there's another story right there. So, chico. I can see it now. Got a big handprint on Machine's face. And he's like, knock the hell out on the ground. Don't even know where he's at 2 days later. And yeah, your machine learning is really giving you the learn. Trust me. I'm just saying, guys, there's a lot of things that are cooking in the world, but to see that where everybody missed the point of what's happening at Nvidia, I think a lot of people are missing the true factor of the points. Oh, if she smacks you again, you gonna put some stank on it? Bro, never mind. I ain't going there because you never know. There could be kids that are watching this live stream. So I ain't going there, bro. Let's keep it clean. I'm keeping it clean. But no, guys, I have to understand. In order for your GPU to work, your operating system has to work 100%. Your components on your motherboard has to be working at 100%. Everything has to be balanced. And I've said this 1,000 times. If you don't keep everything into a balance and you got something that's imbalanced, like let's say your SSD's imbalanced, and how you can imbalance it, the speed's not right. It's not a match with your CPU. So yeah, there's a lot of things you can do and not do. You know what I learned the other day? What was it? 2 days ago? Well, yeah, I took my CPU from my 5700X. Guess what I did? It's rated for 65 watts. Right now, I'm running it at 122 watts. But truth and reality, I'm only sitting at 49 Celsius as temperature. It pulls what it wants. I just gave it a wider jump and took it off the PBO curve. The PPT section, what do they call it? Power packaging transfer, something like that. Guys, my brain doesn't, there's only so much that can go into my brain. So sometimes I forget the name of it. So it's like with knowing where the top is. Tera operations per second, or I think it's sorry. I'm not sure. So my brain's just not, I'm getting there. So don't threaten me with a good line. You mean a good shot in the line? Oh, time. I got you. Oh, for some reason I had like a Cuervo kind of thing on my mind. I don't know why, but okay. Now that we done chit chatted for a little while, we talked about a couple things. Now we're going to take a move on to the market. We're going to take a little gander and see what's going on these markets. So let's go on a little journey for a little bit. Let's go on Journey, a journey in sound. What does that say? Twilight Zone? Something like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and move into the journey. You are now in the Twilight Zone. When it comes to Amazon, you are in the Twilight Zone. Let's see. And no, not Zon. You know, I was sitting there thinking of Africa, the big Amazon women. You know, the ones that got fingers that are like this long. I don't know, this long, something like that. I don't know why I come up with that, but who knows? Maybe you guys could explain it. I don't know. Yeah, power, packaging, power tracking. Yeah, I keep forgetting. So that's like a cap to, you know, your max power. I just turned mine on automatic this time, but I left I left the option of a negative curve, so it um, curves down the temperature a little bit. So, but anyway, enough talking about that. We ain't gonna look at the pre-built gaming PCs. Let's just go into not granola, not graph paper, graph it cards for gaming PCs. The reason why I'm bringing you guys here because I want to show you. Don't get these cards. 5700X, 8 gigabytes GDR6, 256-bit bus. The clock speeds are not that bad, but I don't know the brand because they don't put their brand name on there. They just put Radeon. They didn't put no brand name. They just put Radeon. And plus, they don't know how that the digits work unless they're trying to say that's what the VRAM memory speed is at, which is impossible. So I think they screwed that up. They screwed the pooch there. Long fingernails. I just know the fairy tale of what is that? Oh, the dude that doesn't clip. Yeah. Well, that dude better clip because it's a health hazard. Don't touch none of my food if you got them kind of fingernails. Don't touch none of my food because I don't want a cockroach coming out of your fingernails. Ew, I just didn't say that. Scratch that. Let's move on. 3050, 6 gigabyte, $180. 5080, 1485. Ew. 6600. Guess what? It was below $200. Now it's up $40. You guys can get the point. 3060s there, the 12 gigabyte version. Or is that the 8 gigabyte version? I heard that they're going to want to put the 3060 8 gigabyte version out next. So 5070 Ti, unbelievable. 5070, unbelievable. Look at the 7600. 320. I would say that's $328. They always try to put like 16 or 18. They think it's going to help to keep the scalper bots off of you if you put a fictitious number there. 5700X for 209. Not a bad deal, but I don't like the brand. You guys get the point. I mean, you can see it right there. 7800 XT. Well, 6 months ago, it was $429. Now look at it. Ridiculous. I got a 750 Ti 4 GB for $80. Yeah, I can do better with that $80. Oh, also too, wanted to bring this up. I hear that rumor that the 7700 XT is discontinued by AMD. Discontinued. So that means this is going to be coming off the market. Just a highlight and a update for you all. $69 for a 4-fan case. K11. It's not too bad. With 4 PWM ARGB, ATX hinge. See, 120, 240 right here. Don't know. It looks kind of small right here, telling me that it's a 240 case and not a 360. So, and now I'm gonna get to the dirty part of this. I'm gonna go to e-waste. I mean eBay. eBay. Reason why I'm going to eBay, you'll see when I get there. And no, I ain't reviewing shit. Don't tell me I got to review something. 5060. I just put 5060 and see what comes up. Well, let's see. Now it's at TI. Oh, that worked. Let's see. $680. 718, 669, 758, 599, 649. You gotta remember they add an extra charge for delivery. So that card's more expensive than you think. They can sell you the card for $1 and they can add $1,000 delivery charge on it. And if you're not paying attention, you'll be out $1,000. So keep that in mind. That's the new scam that's coming out. 5060 Ti. Let's see. You know what I'm looking for is I'm looking to see if they put the 8 GB version in here. Oh, 8 GB version. Look at this. $700. $700. So you're going to charge the same amount as the 16 GB. Actually, $100 difference. Really? 7900 XT was cheaper than those cards. Yeah, I do agree. I do agree. But this is giving you an idea of the scalper. This is what they call the scalper oasis of the internet. It's called e-waste. I mean eBay. So if you want to join in the scalper fun, you're more than happy to. And this is their haven right here on e-waste. I mean eBay. So if you enjoy it, and you'll see, you'll really enjoy it. I will never buy nothing. And I mean never will buy nothing off of eBay. I am right now at a point of until they get it straightened around and they start putting caps on some of that stuff that they sell on eBay, especially when they're trying to put like a 20x profit in pricing. like they're trying to do. No, sorry. I could never support eBay at this point, because why would I buy used when I can go over to Amazon or Newegg and get a cheaper price and buy it for brand new? Why would I buy it from eBay? eBay used to be good at selling good quality stuff, but they went to crap 2 years ago. Well, no, actually 4 years ago they went to crap. So yeah. So now you guys get the idea of what I'm talking about here. So let's go to the main screen. Look, you guys can choose what you want to do with your money. All I can do is give you advice on the fact of if it's good or bad. I can give you my suggestion, but I'm never going to tell you to do whatever you don't want to do. I give you a suggestion if that's what you want to do, but I never tell you to do it. It's not my choice, it's your choice. Now, in my choice, if I choose to do it, I just do it. But if somebody gives me good advice when it comes to a product that's on the market and they say it's really bad, I'll look into it and I'll take their word for it, but I'll look into it and see if there's any further investigation on it. But if I can't find anything further, then, if they're a reliable source, I'll take their word like gold. But once they give me the wrong information, I will never go back. One time is good enough. Giving the wrong information, being a content creator, you got to get the right information. So you have to work with the information you have in your hand. And that's exactly what I do, is work with the information I have in my hand. I'm not like the other reviewers. They got money they can shell out to afford, to pay for their opinions. But I don't. I have to gather mine. So, and all the information I gave you today is right, not wrong. So I wanted to make that point clear. Let's see. 5060 Ti prices start at 399 euros and 449 euros over there. Very stable situation. Yeah. You guys are going to be in a stable situation over there, but over here in the United States, we're not going to be in a stable situation. Not for the next 6 or 7 months, or maybe until January of 2026. We might get into a stable situation. But the markets that are around the world are in a different boat than we are here in the United States. So 5000 series line card. Let's see what we're talking. The PNY. The PNY. Oh, the GeForce line card? Yeah, I've seen this, bro. I do appreciate you bringing it up, but all right, well, you know what? You know what we'll do? We'll have a look at it. Let me get it all set and blow it up. Okay. So we'll get it all set and blow it up. So machine sent me this, guys. So second page at the bottom. Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, but they have no price on them, bro. They have no price on it. I'll show you guys what we're doing here. See, I got it right here. They got a 3-year warranty on it. Most of your cards come with 3-year warranty anyway. GeForce RTX 5060, 8 GB versions, 16 GB versions. So where were we going with this? It doesn't tell you how many doesn't have a listing of the cores. I did see that. Maybe that's something they're hiding. Well, we can see the 5070, it's the triple fan, overclock, triple fan, ARGB, triple fan. So 250 watt compared to 180. Where are we going with this? $299 MSRP for the 5069 Ti. Oh, I see where you're going with that. Gotcha. So they got two listed down at the bottom for PNY. It's got an 8-pin. It's got 145 watt TDP. It's got 28 gigabytes per second on the memory speed. And the bandwidth speed's at 448. Bro, if I'm reading this right, so the only difference between the 5060 and the 5060 Ti is the clock speeds and maybe the CUDA cores, but everything else looks like it's pretty much obvious the same. Seriously? So a 5060 on an average looks like it's almost like a 5060 Ti, but 5060 is 8 gigabytes of DRAM. So is the 5060 Ti. It's got 8 gigabytes and 16 gigabytes. Difference between 1 and 2 is the amount of CUDA cores they have. But it pretty much looks like everything else offsetted. They pretty much look like they're the same. I don't get it. Hypothetically, yeah. Yeah, you're right. Hypothetically. Yeah, the 5060 might be a better deal if they decide to move it down to 249. I know I'm being pessimistic about this, but I think that if they move it down to like $250, that will knock Intel out of the box. That will knock AMD out of the box and definitely bring Nvidia back onto the top charts with that one graphics card alone. So if they market at $250 instead of $300, I really think a lot of people would be wanting that card. Well, yeah, you got to figure the taxes. I know Nvidia's got their own tax purposes. So you figure if you're going to spend an extra 50 to get your card, they might as well knock off $50 from the card to give you a better deal at actual price. In business, if they want to keep their consumers, what they would do is they would knock off $50 from the actual product to give that customer the feeling that they're being saved $50, but when the taxes and everything come out, it puts it right back at the same price. Either way you look at it, you're going to spend for the tax anyway. So keep that in mind. Any card you buy now in 2025, they're going to have some kind of tax. It's either going to have a VAT tax, it's going to have a welfare tax, it's going to have a in your armpit kind of tax, it's going to have, an up your butt kind of tax. It's going to have taxes until they do away with all that and say no tax on PC parts. That I want to see. Oh, you got a Steam survey. Yeah, I can see your Steam survey there, bro. Is that really going to work for us? I don't know. Let's see how far the Steam survey worked out for us. Let's see how it works out. Boom. All right, let's look at the Steam survey. DirectX 12, it's negative 2.84%, so it dropped. DirectX 11, a lot of people are into it. It's a 0.19%. DirectX 10 is a 0.14%. DirectX 8 GPUs and below, read this, 2.51%. DirectX 8 and below, well, let's see. What runs DirectX 8 and below? Your 4 gigabyte cards, your 3 gigabyte cards, your 2 gigabyte cards, your 1 gigabyte cards, your 6 gigabyte cards. All your cards, except for certain models, will run DirectX 8 GPUs and below. So if it's 2.51% higher than DirectX 11, but it definitely, if you look at it, let's get that calculator back out because I know you guys are going to be ranting and raving about this. So we got 2.51, add the negative 2.84. So in actuality, DirectX 8 from DirectX 12 is 5.35% more on DirectX 8 than DirectX 12. Because you got to take the negative back to zero to make it a negative positive, and exactly what I did. So made that a positive. So now we see that it's 5.35% more people using cards from 8 all the way down to 1 gigabyte of VRAM. So not everybody is running 16 gigabytes of VRAM. That's what that's pointing out. So let's look at the top card. Is not that. Negative. Let's see. Top card, 4060 laptop GPUs. 4060 laptop GPUs, 0.78%. Wow. 16 GTX 1650. 1.03%. Yeah. Let's see. 1060 is 0.18%. AMD Radeon graphics, integrated graphics. That's 0.73% in the positive. Intel Iris Xe graphics on chip, 0.65% in the positive. Wow, they got a lot cooking. 4070 Super. Not a lot of people running the 4070 Super. It's negative 168%. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Everybody's rocking on the 1070, 0.26% in the positive. I know that was mentioned earlier in the stream, so I bring it up again. They got the 4090 here. They got the 4070. Wow. Now a lot of people are using the 4070. That's way below. Way below. I'd say 4060 is very efficient card. Yep. So is the 5060 Ti, which people don't realize that having that the new AI tops being higher than a lot of the graphics cards that are on the 70 series and the 60 series. Yeah. Something tells me that they're hiding something about the 5060 Ti and not telling everybody about it. That we have to discover it as reviewers, which I discovered that they're going to implement the AI tops to succeed the CUDA cores. Well, not succeed the CUDA cores, but to succeed and improve on into the mix. So we'll see what happens. We don't know yet. $4050 mobile more popular than the 4090, 4070 rank 11, and the Super ranking 16. Change it to percent change this month. Yeah. 9070 and XT should climb the charts at some point. That's what we're waiting to see, if they're going to climb the charts. Not sitting at $1,000 though. When they launched it, it was good, but now that it's sitting at getting close to $1,000, it's not going to start selling. So whatever sales AMD made, they've already got. That was it. I mean, they're going to end up moving on from this graphics card and go to the next new best thing. So it can sit in the wild for 2 years. And then after that, they can discontinue them. And then, they got another graphics card to fit in its place. Just like with the 7700 XT. What are they going to do? They're going to put a 7700 GRE. They're going to put Golden Rabbit editions for their graphics cards and change them up. They already got a 9070 GRE they're working on. So it's going to be an interesting year. I'll just put it to you like that. 8 gigabytes VRAM GPUs are 35 at 35.52%. Yeah, well, people got peeps who got the peeps. People don't realize that a lot of people use the 8 gigabytes of VRAM. Yeah, I'm looking at it now, machine. 3060. Yeah, well, time range. It's 1080p. It's not bad. I mean, guys, you're going to have to understand something, right? You're going to have to understand that 1080p is not dead. 1080p is not dead when it comes to it all. No, I got a bunch of big mouths downstairs. Okay. 1080p is not dead. Neither is DDR4. This is all just a fallacy that they're putting out there on the market. It's not dead. We all can disagree, but we all can agree in the end. So keep that in mind, guys. Especially if you're just trying to make yourself a little, what do you call it, a Fortnite computer. You know, the difference between 8 GB and 12 GB is 4 GB. So what can float in between that? This is where I start using my mind. What can float in between 8 GB and 4 GB? Or 8 GB and 12 GB? 4 GB. That's what floats in between the two. So if I think to myself, okay, what can I do to suppress that 4 GB? Then that's the next step to figure out what I can do to suppress that 4 GB without having to change my graphics card. So things you need to work on. Oh my God. You guys are just wait. Yeah, buddy. Okay. Yeah, no, I've been watching all that. I mean, comes down to it. Yeah. But that's for now, machine. 1440p at 10.92% that everybody's using it. That's for now. But you still got to look at the fact of, you know, the 1080p crowd, the 1440p crowd, the 4K crowd. And now people are, and get this, now people are going to start looking at 8K, not 4K, 8K. That's the reason why they want to do away with 1080p is because they want to bring into the market the 8K video, which they already got a couple monitors built with 8K. So they're trying to sauce it in to the PC market. So we got to keep that in mind as well. Yeah. So just many different variables on which you guys to really take. I mean, many different variables on which you guys really need to take attention to. Pay close attention to that because for the last 6 months, 8 months, they've been trying to throw hints out there about 8K um, resolutions. So they've been hinting it. I will need a 9090 minute, and it will cost 10,000 MSRP. Well, if you were looking for a graphics card that will run 8K, then you're going to need something close to a 10,090 graphics cards, close to it. So something to think about, guys. Some things to think about. Just keep that in mind. Do remember Nvidia might push it forward into the next generation, the Rubin generation. That's probably why they're just cutting their limits on the amount of graphics cards they're putting out right now. I know I said different about it. It's nothing but the green new scam. So, but do keep that in mind. The RTX 6000 or whatever it is called. Yeah, we all don't know what it's going to be called. We don't know if it's going to be called late for supper. Who knows? If they're going to call it 10K, 10,000 and whatever, we don't know. So do keep that in mind. There's a lot of information out there, and we unpacked a hell of a lot of information today, guys. I mean, we unpacked a hellacious amount of information today in 2 hours. So the Scalper 6000, yeah, that would be a good idea. The Scalper 6000. No, actually, the Scalper 10K special. I think that would be better. Get it live right here on Amazon. The RTX 10K Scalper special for $10,000 on sale with the 5% discount, making it $10,000 on Amazon. That's totally nuts. That would be nuts. Totally nuts. So anyway, guys, I hope you all had fun. I mean, let's go back over what we discussed today. We discussed about, and about, you guys already know what we discussed. We'll go back and watch the video again. I already know this. It has instant replay. You can go watch the video again, so I don't need to explain it. But sometimes I do like to explain it, but maybe they can explain to us about what they got next cooking. Are we all going to be interested in the new graphics cards that are going to be coming for the 6000 series? Let me know and leave comments either in this chat here or leave it on the video description. Leave a comment there. Are they going to come out with a graphics card that's going to be AI tops and it's going to have nothing else but AI tops? I don't know why. I have a feeling that's what they're going to be using next, that they're going to incorporate this into the matter of the fact of our graphics cards. So it's going to take artificial intelligence in order to balance out the textures, mapping of the textures and everything else is all going to be done through AI technology. So if they do that, they're going to take away your display settings. They're going to take away all your display settings and just say, AI is going to optimize it for you so you don't need to touch anything else. So that's going to be coming as well. And do keep that in mind. Oops, did I say that? I wasn't supposed to say that, but I said it. I'm busted. RTX 4500 Pro Blackwell is $3,140. Euros, that is. 32 gigabyte. The RTX 5000 Pro Blackwell is 5,590 euros. 48 gigabyte. Can't buy any other here for now. I can't even buy one of them for now. Oh, guys, give you a little about my new cooler. Wanted to talk to you guys a minute about that. My new cooler that I got, the Thermal Right Aqua Elite V3. Perfect temperatures. Not a problem. Gaming temperatures. Not a problem. It stays and keeps overall everything down below 75C under a max load of the CPU. So it runs safe all day long. So no problem with the AIO cooler, no problem with the CPU, no problem with the platform. Everything is good. Just to give you an update on that, so you know where we're going with that. But guys, it comes down to the point of time of the week. And you know, we do this every week. So, and don't forget, next Saturday, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Be here on time because we're going to get party rolling right then and there. So, just to let you know, and I hope also, too, I just want to get out. I hope you guys have a great day. Stay safe. And I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to call it right now. So, but anyway, if this is your first time here, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and don't forget about the notification bell so you know when I post the next video. You too there, MTBK, you too. Until the next time and the next video, you know what it is, and we'll see you.